Hey everyone, welcome back to another Sims 4 YouTube video. Today is another mod review, and this happens to be one of my favorite mods for our teens in our Sims 4 game. As you all know, we had High School Years that came out about more than a year ago now, which is crazy because I remember all the buzz from that and just being so excited to actually have an active high school in The Sims 4. But with that came a lot of mods that came with it to help make your Sims 4 high school years a little bit more realistic. And this one is the Senior Trip mod by Maple Bell. And this comes at a perfect timing because she just updated the mod. Like, she updated it to add a couple new things into the mod. It came out publicly August 5th, I believe. So you do not have to pay anything for this mod. It is completely free to use, public use. I have messed around with it a little bit. It's quite fun. I played with it when it first came out. If you don't know what it is, basically in the name, it's a senior trip mod for your teens in game to let them go off and have, you know, one last hurrah before they have to enter the real world in The Sims. I guess not really the real world because it's all computerized, but I like to think that they can just have one more, you know, last hurrah in The Sims. Now, if you don't know, in The Sims, there's not really like grades in The Sims other than like elementary school, and then you just jump to high school. So you can really take this senior trip whenever you want. If you wanted to wait towards kind of like the last few weeks of your Sims 4 game to maybe act as if that was your senior year, you could do that, or you could take it, you know, whenever. That's the beauty of mods, is that you don't really have to, you know, there's no time frame, you know, especially with senior trip, although you do have to be a teenager to do a senior trip. So anyways, enough of me rambling. Let's get into the gameplay and see how this mod works. Okay, so we are in game. I feel like I say that every video, but anyways, we are here in Cooperdale. I thought it would be fitting because this is where the high school is located for the high school years pack. But like I said in the beginning, it is a senior trip mod. So basically everything that you'll need to do to complete this senior trip is on the phone. As always, we love the phone. We're always on here. I feel like every mod uses the phone. But what we're gonna do first is make sure before we go into this Maple Bell menu, if this is not popping up in your game, number one, you might not have the XML injector in your game, and number two, you'll need to download the Maple Bell General Pi menu for it to pop up. So I wanted to get that out of the way so you guys know exactly to download those two mods. If it is now working with those two mods in your game, that is probably the culprit, is you didn't have one or the other in your game. But as always, I'll link it down in my description. Without further ado, let's get into the senior trip mods. So the first thing is there are 3 different pre-meetings. So you'll notice that it says go to first pre-senior trip planning. This is the meeting where they decide where they're going to go on their senior trip. So you got a couple different options, which we'll go into when she's done going to this meeting, but they'll go to this meeting, talk about it, she'll come back, and then you can decide where you're going on your trip. Now, each world has a different price point. So I believe from knowledge, I think you've got Windenburg, Salvadorada, Mount Kumarevi, you've got San Myshuno, Forgotten Hollows, Granite Falls, and I think there's a couple other worlds, but each world has a different price point. So for instance, Windenburg's like 1,200 simoleons to go on the trip, whereas Mount Kumarevi is like 1,700 simoleons. But the nice thing about this mod is your Sims are able to fundraise for their senior trip, which comes with the second senior trip planning mod, or not planning mod, the second senior trip meeting is where they decide what they're doing for their fundraising. They can choose from a different couple of different options. There will be a classmate that reaches out to you to let you know what they all decided on in that second meeting. The third meeting is kind of like where they finalize everything and talk about the fundraising, and then after that you go on your senior trip. But the one thing I did want to be mindful of is with your senior trip, if you pay for it and then go, your Sims will go into a rabbit hole for 2 days. But let's say you wanted to wait till the weekend, don't pay for the senior trip just yet, and you'll see what I'm talking about, because right after they go to their senior trip. But just wanted to get those few things out of the way. If it sounds a little bit confusing, bear with me. It will all make sense at the end of the video. I'm just giving a little overhaul while she's in this meeting because there's really nothing we can do until she gets out of this meeting. So she's now back from the meeting. It did take a couple hours in the Sims game, but I understand it because it's a meeting where they talk about, you know, what they want to do. But if we click back into the senior trip panel, you'll then see this vote on location. And here we can vote on the location of the worlds. So we have Windenburg, Mount Kumarevi, Del Sol Valley, San Myshuno, Granite Falls, Forgotten Hollows, and Salvadorada. I feel like personally for a senior trip, Mount Kumarevi might be be fun because you can go snowboarding, skiing, and I think snow tubing is on there. So we'll go ahead and vote for Mount Kumrevi. But again, you can decide on whatever location you want to go to. After that, you will see this window pop up that says vote registered. Phoebe, you and your other peers have voted for your senior trip location. The results will be out in a few hours, so we'll wait a few hours for that to come back. Okay, so we now have our location set. We did not get Mount Kumrevi, we got Windenburg, and I think the trip costs are different depending on what is going on, because when I played this last time and I got Windenburg, it was 1,200 simoleons. This one is 1,350. So I think it just really depends on the location and what you guys are doing. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I hope they visit the Von Haunt estate while they're there, but again, this is a rabbit hole, so when they go off to their senior trip, you can't go with them, but it's just a rabbit hole. But if I'm paying that money, they better be doing something fun in Windenburg. But anyways, we'll go ahead and click the OK. Now, another part of this mod is you can really space out these meetings, but for this mod review, we're going to try and get all 3 of them done today. And so the second one is, again, the fundraising portion of the mod. So we'll go to the second pre-senior trip planning. She'll get up and go to the meeting. And I did want to explain a few things with this while she's at the meeting. Is if you have a sim that is maybe a trendsetter, maybe they're, have quite a bit of following on social media. Part of the thing about fundraising is there's a section where you can post about the fundraising that you're going to. Maybe you're throwing a car wash or a talent show or a game night, which is some of the options that you can do within the mod. Your sims can actually post about it on their social media, and it can help make the fundraiser better. Like, it can help increase the fundraising success rate. Now, if your sims aren't popular, not popular, but if they don't have a following on social media, they probably will flop on that aspect. But there's a couple other things that you can do. If you like, for instance, if you have a baking sale, that is one of the things in here that you can do. You can always cook some baking items, and then from there you can have a better chance at increasing the fundraising portion of the mod. But anyways, we will wait to hear back from our classmate about the fundraising thing of what they all picked when they went to that meeting. Again, this takes another couple hours in game, so we'll just kind of wait. So I just got the text back. This is what will pop up after you've done your second senior meeting, and it says, "Hey Phoebe, the votes have been counted and the winning fundraiser idea is a talent show. We're super excited to showcase everyone's incredible talent and have a blast together, but remember, making this fundraiser a success requires everyone's dedication. Whether you're a performer, organizer, or supporter, your contribution is vital. Let's bring our A game and create an unforgettable event that will have a lasting impression." So we got a talent show that was picked. She's in school right now, so we'll have to wait to do the fundraising, but when she gets back, we'll go and do it. Okay, well, for some reason it skipped the actual fundraising event, and there's no way for me to go back. But if you were to have the fundraising mod, if you were to do the fundraising portion of the mod, I'm not exactly sure why it skipped. I wasn't even able to do anything. But what would essentially happen is basically your sims would go off to the fundraising event. They would then come back after doing the fundraising event and go to the third meeting to discuss what happened at the fundraising event, and then go on their senior trip. But for the sake of this mod review, we're just going to go ahead and go to this third senior meeting. I will say, when I've played, I've never not had the fundraising thing pop up, so maybe it was just a glitch in my system. But for the sake of this video, I can't go back and do it again. Again, your senior trip is only one time, so you won't be able to do it over and over again, because obviously it's a senior trip, so it's normally one of the last things you do in high school, and you can only do it once. So we'll see, what happens with that. It's a bummer that we weren't able to do it. I was looking forward to the talent show. I hadn't gotten that one yet, but normally I would say, it is The Sims, so I'm not expecting it to be perfect, but it shouldn't happen. I haven't had that happen at all, actually, where the fundraising thing just skipped over. But be careful not to go to the second meeting twice, because that could conflict with the thing. So if it's not working, maybe just restart or refresh Origin as well. So yeah, just only go to the second meeting once, because I accidentally went there twice, so I think I might have broken it, but it's okay. We live and we learn, and we're gonna go back into this panel right here, go to our senior trip area, and then now you'll see the senior trip button here, and we can go ahead and click on this. Now, here's what I'm talking about. If we click this right now, they're gonna go off into that rabbit hole. So you might wanna wait a little bit, but for the sake of this video, we're just gonna go ahead and do it. And now she is off to her senior trip. She'll be gone for about about 2 days in The Sims, and I don't think it should affect their high school. I mean, she's already doing quite bad in high school, but that's besides the point. I don't think it should affect their high school grades or anything like that. So if you did decide to do it on a weekday, I think it should be fine, but don't take my word on that. But I would assume probably maybe doing it on like the weekend, maybe having them leave on like a Friday and then having that Saturday and Sunday to go on the trip might be a little bit more realistic. And so that way you're not having to have them miss school or anything like that. But if you're, completely done with school, you can send them on their senior trip. But again, it's only one time that they can go on this. So if you don't get the world that you want, or you didn't have it completely the way you wanted it to, you can only do it once. So be very careful. But yeah, we'll see when she comes back. Another cool thing about the senior trip is they do get a milestone with it. So if they go on their senior trip, they'll get a milestone if you have Growing Together saying that they went on their senior trip. So it is a kind of a little cool like add-on for the mods so that your Sims will always remember that they did go on a senior trip. And the other thing as well is they get like a little buff afterwards saying that they went on their senior trip. So, but other than that, it's kind of just like they're gone for a couple of days in The Sims and they just kind of reappear. So now Phoebe is back from the trip, and it has been 2 days in The Sims. So whenever they leave, that's when they will be coming back in the next 2 days. So it's like a full 48 hours. But I did want to show you on this, like the Simology panel. You go down to milestones. It should say right here of the senior trip milestone, which will be right here. And then they have this like little buff as well. They should get this buff. Oh, awful trip. That senior trip was so bad in so many ways. Phoebe just wants to stay at home and never go back to school. So there are a couple different buffs that you will get, because majority of the times I get like the happy ones of like that was like an awesome, senior trip. But in this case, Phoebe thought it was awful. So she will have an embarrassed buff from that. But that is the mod. I know we kind of had a little issue with the fundraising portion of the mod, but unfortunately it's not like I can go back and change it. And I think it's kind of part of The Sims, it's either it goes great or it goes horribly wrong, and in this case it went horribly wrong for us. But all in all, I think this mod is a very fun mod to put into your Sims 4 game if you have a lot of teens in your household. Maybe you're more of a family game player and have just you like playing with the high school years pack. This is perfect for your teens and your family to be able to go on their senior trip and kind of have a little bit of an extra sort of gameplay aspect in The Sims 4, other than some of the glitches and stuff that is The Sims just being Sims. So I really can't help you on that part if the fundraising mod does, if the, not mod, but the fundraising side of it decides not to work. I will say that it's very important on that second senior meeting to only go once and just wait for the callback. Sometimes it can be really quickly like decided, or sometimes it takes a little bit longer. I think I might have messed it up because I clicked it twice because I didn't think my Sim went the first time. But you know what? Stuff happens, we move forward. But anyways, besides all of the other stuff, I think this is a great mod to have in your game. So if you wanted to see more of it, the link is in my description for the actual mod that you can fully read the description of the mod. But all of this stuff has been updated. Normally it was just the senior trip that you could go on. You just voted and then you went on the trip. But now she actually added in the meetings that you can go to make it a little bit more realistic. I will tell you, when I was planning, or when my class was planning our senior trip, we had like a meeting like every 2 weeks about it up until the actual senior trip. So it does take a lot of planning, but at least you're able to have your freedom of, when you want to go. If you do play, we don't have like, again, we don't have like grades in The Sims, so it's hard to choose like exactly what time to go on your senior trip, but that is up to you and what you choose to do in your Sims game. But with that, I will end the video right here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, besides all of that glitches and stuff like that, I think the mod's still pretty well to play with. I've never had an issue up until filming this video, so I think the mod was just out to get me in this video. But anyways, I did want to say a quick thank you because we are now at 106 subscribers. That was, a big thing to wake up to when I hit 100 subscribers. So thank you all so much for your support and your time in watching my videos. I hope you all enjoy them, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like and comment your favorite part about this mod and would you put it into your Sims 4 game. I promise you it works. This mod was just out to get me in this video. But anyways, if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all on Wednesday.